Hey there, welcome everyone. My name's Ryan Andrew Peterson with Conscious Marketer and Astrology Hub, and I'm really excited to be broadcasting live today with the owners of Astrology Hub. We're here with Amanda Pua Walsh, who serves as the CEO of Astrology Hub, and Richard Taubinger, who is also the founder of Conscious Marketer. And today, we're going to be talking about how the internet has literally changed the way we do business in the world today. And so if you've ever had the thought that your path in this lifetime includes leveraging technology or the online space, online business to serve and to help spread light and expand consciousness, then this talk is definitely for you. But at this point, I'd love for you to introduce yourselves. Amanda, why don't we start with you?
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's so awesome to be here with you on this Friday afternoon. And many of you know me, but if you don't, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Astrology Hub. And like Ryan was saying, I saw the opportunity to use the internet to really be a vehicle for positive change in the world a long time ago. I would say probably 8 to 10 years ago, I started looking at it going, wow, this is a really potent tool. This is a really amazing way that we can really spread love and light in the world. Of course, we can spread the opposite as well. But so I really became interested in using it as a vehicle for change a long time ago, and have had quite a journey with figuring out how to make that work. It wasn't as easy as I thought it would be, and there's been a lot that I've learned along the way, and it's just been amazing. So I'm excited to be here today and share some of that with you. Rich, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. My name's Richard Taubinger and co-founder of Astrology Hub, also the founder of Conscious Marketer. And I've been doing a lot of digital marketing for probably 12 years now. And it's been, Astrology Hub kind of started with Amanda and me, and we were basically brainstorming ideas, and we would talk about astrology a lot. And Amanda's good friends with my wife, Marion. And we just kind of dreamed it into being, as you dream it, so it becomes. And we found that there was kind of like one of the reasons we created it was because it was kind of like the newspaper astrology, which was kind of like this horoscopy kind of thing. And then there were like people with like PhDs, talking about squares and conjunctions. And like there didn't seem to be like a middle ground, or at least we didn't know where to look. And so we kind of started to reach out and found that there was a whole world of people teaching this and sharing gifts, and that it was a lot more like specialized. Like there's all these specializations within astrology, and we got really excited about using digital marketing really to help the whole astrology field expand. And that's what we did, and that's why we're here today. Because some of that worked, right?
That's so awesome, you guys. Thank you for that. And for those of you who don't know, my name's Ryan Andrew Peterson. I'm the director of marketing and sales for Astrology Hub and Conscious Marketer. And I just want to remind you, this is a live broadcast. So if you're on live, please say hello in the comments. If you have any questions at any time too, please put them in there. Toward the end of this talk, we're going to have time for questions, or for answering those questions. So we'd love to hear from you. And why don't we start, Amanda? How do you think online business differs from traditional business? I know you actually ran a technology company years ago in New York City, and this online business scene is different than what you were doing before. So where do you see the differences there?
Well, I mean, some really big, obvious ones in terms of your ability to reach a global market. So my business started, in my former life, the wireless technology company I was running started in the Bay Area. And so we were limited to selling the product that we were selling to that area in the San Francisco Bay Area. Something happened within that business that enabled us to expand our territory to New York. So I moved to New York to actually create a market there for the company. But as you can see, it was always limited by where we could be geographically, so physically. I love that with the internet, we can reach a global audience. We're connected to people all over the world, New Zealand, Amsterdam, Italy. There's every single call we're on, there are people from all over the world. And it's so exciting to be able to connect with people that way. Also, I would say that the cost of getting started with this type of business is so much lower. You know, my dad has been an entrepreneur my whole life, the whole time I've known him. And he always marvels at the cost of getting started with an online business. He's like, oh my gosh, you know, back in the day, we'd have to invest $200,000 in a location, and then we'd have to buy inventory. And then he was like, if you could just go to a training and get some knowledge and then, you know, basically with a few tools, you're in business. It's like, it's true. It's amazing. So those are two of the real obvious differences that I would start with.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd like to just add that online business, a lot of it is content creation, you know, and so you're writing, you're speaking on video, maybe you're speaking on audio, and there's just so much potential to kind of influence minds. And one of the reasons I was attracted to online business, same as you, like a decade ago almost, was the idea that it was an avenue for expanding consciousness, you know, and spreading love and light. And it's like, technology, I think in and of itself it's not good or bad, but how we use it is up to us. And it's just a really powerful medium for affecting change. So, Richard, I was really looking forward to asking you. I've heard you say many times that like launching your services and products and programs online is really a transformative experience for the individual. It can be transforming for your clients, but it's also transforming for the person launching the experience. Yeah. So do you mind speaking to that?
Sure. Well, I guess I'm broadcasting from Dallas, Texas. And I was in session all day today with, there's a conference called LaunchCon. And it's a community that I've been involved with. A guy named Jeff Walker kind of started some of the initial stuff launching, and it was probably like mid 2000s, and I was part of his mastermind group. But what I wanted to mention is we heard from a lot of amazing people today. But the last speaker was a guy named Charles, who was a big time DJ in New York, and he talked about how he you know, when he was younger, he took care of his mom because his mom was really sick. But then when he turned 18, he kind of went to the dark side, you know. And he said for 10 years, he was this high-paid DJ and doing drugs and drinking. And like for 10 years, he had like an apartment in New York and would fly first class. He said that like companies like, I think it was Budweiser, they would pay him $4,000 a month just to drink his beer in like the clubs and stuff, like, because there's like this echelon. And 10 years in, he was like, he decided to sell everything. And he, you know, through inner reflection, he was like, this isn't really who I am. And like, I don't want my legacy to be that I help people like get high every night, you know? And so he quit it, and I'll get to the point, but basically he put a bunch of applications out to all these charities, and they all said like, we don't, like, he was just trying to like work for free, you know? And they're like, you're a DJ, like, what could you do for us? You know, and this is before kind of the online stuff had started. And he's like, well, I'll do anything, you know, anyway. And so he got one charity, and the charity said, well, look, if you pay us $500 a month, we'll take you in and we'll send you over to Africa to do some charity work. so he, I know, it's an amazing story. I will put, I can't do it now because I can't multi-tingle, but I'll put his link in here, and you can Google him later. But this was about 10 years ago. And so he ended up in Liberia right after post-Civil War in Africa, where there was this massive civil war. And basically, there was no doctors. There was 2 doctors per 50,000 people there. And they basically went into this really poor place, and he went in to do charity work. And he was hired as like the photographer to take pictures. And so he said that he started to take all these pictures and then start to ask for donations. And it was kind of funny because he said, well, he had a list of 15,000 people that were like signed up to party. And he started to send them these pictures of like people with like growths and these doctors that were doing all these amazing stuff. And then, and he said like a year in that, I'm not doing this story justice. I cried 4 times earlier today in his presentation. Wow. Yeah, I know. And so it doesn't take a lot to get me to cry, but 4 times in one presentation is a lot. So, and so anyway, a year in, he signed up for a second year, and they're not like, he's actually paying to have the experience. And he started to travel, and what he realized was that the source of a lot of the illnesses that people were having was just bad water. And that there's 650 million people that don't have clean drinking water. And that can solve 50% of all the health problems international.
Wow.
And then he also recognized, so the doctors were like, well, look, make this your movement. And so he looked at the field and he realized that nobody trusted charities and nonprofits. So he started this thing called Charity Water. And it's become this massive thing. They've raised over $250 million, mostly online. They've helped to get clean drinking water to over 8 million people, and they've tracked it. Everything's tracked via online. They literally have meters on all of all the pumps that they install everywhere. And the stories that he shared were just so moving. Now, I'm at a conference with people who would skin you alive for $1 because they're online marketers. And the truth is, most of these people at this conference, almost all of us are here to transform consciousness. And so when you asked me that about transforming consciousness, I had to share that story about this person who, through online marketing, he speaks on a stage a lot now, 100 people, but literally he gave a code, and then I signed up to donate $20 a month on a membership site, which is interesting, like in the moment via online. And so $20 a month doesn't sound like a lot, but that's $240 a year I just committed to for the rest of my life after crying 4 times in his presentation. And and it literally said, this will provide drinking water for 8 people a year,
Wow.
for as long as or 8 people a month for as long as you continue this. And literally they'll be able to track Jeff Walker will be able to track. And another speaker earlier was Masson Kipp, who some of you may know. He wrote, he had The Daily Love Connection. He's a New York Times bestseller. Anyway, something that struck me, that what he said is that as you get out more, you're going to get more people coming out after you. Like, you're going to get more haters. And so like, it takes courage, because you have to get out there and present who you are. And then you're going to find out who supports you and who doesn't. And that's transformative, because you're starting to take a stand. So this guy started to take a stand on stage. When you start to step out in your true purpose, there's just no way that you can't go online and make content, write articles, show up on camera like this, and not show the world who you are at a deep level, authentically. So I'm sorry, I can ramble on forever because I'm so passionate about how this stuff transforms lives. And one last thing, I think there's this false assumption that I'm being humble and like customers are just going to come to me. And like if I have the best service, people are just going to find me. And I do think there's something that if you're in business long enough, the referral base will come in. But if you're starting and you're gifted, I can't tell you how many people that are the best in the world and nobody knows about them. And in the astrology field, that's a lot of what we found. Like, some of the best astrologers that we knew, they didn't have any audience. They didn't have an email list. They had time slots that weren't filled. And basically they were serving, but not at the level that they really could have been in the world, compassionately. So I like to make the distinction between humility and hiding or putting your head in the sand. And that may seem a little bit tough, but I think it's for all of us, to show up at this important time in our life, to do what we can with the people that are in front of us to change lives. And I think for most businesses, digital marketing is a big part of that right now.
Wow, that's incredible, Rich. I mean, that story, it's powerful. I mean, only because, look at how many lives that's affecting. It's just, And yeah, so thank you for sharing that. It's incredible.
If you go to, it's charitywater.com if you want to hear the story. And if you Google him, you can go on YouTube and find like some of his speeches, but it's extraordinary. And you know what he said too? He said, you ready? It's okay that the work's never going to be finished, you know? Because he's like, look, I've helped eradicate 7 million per year of people that have fresh drinking water. But guess what? There's 660 million people that still don't have drinking water. And so like what he's doing is he's raising consciousness, he's telling a story over and over. He's telling it online. He's telling it to digital marketers. And so that's amazing, you know?
I love that, Rich. Remember actually Ryan was there too, when William Meter, the esoteric astrologer, came to Maui. One of the things, and we all actually we co-facilitated this event and et cetera. But one of the things he said is that you can tell when you're creating something from the soul when you don't have this crazy sense of urgency around it. Like, I gotta get this done right now. And you can tell when you're creating from the ego, when you feel like there's a limited time for you to accomplish what you need to accomplish, because the soul is looking at it from many, many lifetime perspective, whereas the ego knows like, this is it, like one and done. This is the one time this personality is coming through. So I love that he said that too. Like, you know, the work might not get done in this lifetime, but I think that all too is we're going, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, Massim Kip did a presentation this morning. It's just fresh in my mind. And these are some really big internet marketers, you know, and he said that one of the things he said, he's launching an online program about soul purpose, which I think is great. But he was like, look, if you're out of alignment, you're going to get frustrated with the tech. You're not going to want to hit the send button. The one negative comment that you get is and you're going to start to look around and go, like, what is my competition doing? And you're going to start to doubt yourself. Like, I'm not good enough. But he said, when you're living from the soul, you're like living the soul. He didn't say that. Those are my words. But when you're living your soul, when you're truly aligned with your soul's purpose, like, you'll hit the send button no matter what, because it's like, you have to do it. It's like your thing to do. He's like, you don't look at the competition and go like, oh, am I good enough as this person or this person? You just show up because you have to do it. Because it's like, it comes from like deep within. It's like this inner drive that like pushes you forward. When you hit a tech problem, he goes, oh, it's just a tech problem. I'll get through it, you know? Because like, I don't really like tech. I don't like social media. I don't like these things. But like, I gotta get my message out because this is mine to do in the world. I have to show up. And so all those things start to dissolve, and then you actually start to have the impact because you're not like looking around at other people and wondering whether, because then you're probably out of alignment with something that isn't aligned with your soul.
Great point. Love that.
Yeah, that's an incredible point. And, you know, I think it's funny because this whole online business thing, it takes a certain amount of courage, I think, because you are putting yourself out there. And when you make a stand and you start claiming who you are and what you believe and how you serve on this planet, and you start making those statements, it doesn't have to be, you know, aggressive or anything, but those subtle, like, this is who I am, you put yourself at risk of like polarizing some people. You know, some people are not going to resonate with that. But the people that do, the amount of change you can affect in those people's lives goes dramatically up. And so, you know, as far as that soul perspective goes, just putting yourself out there and taking that courageous step, you know, I think it brings up those limiting kind of belief systems for us to transcend. And so our soul can fully step into that path, you know? And so in a lot of ways, it's funny, like internet marketing, that term in and of itself can have a stigma to it. I mean, I know even now, if I tell people I'm an internet marketer, it's like, and it just, you know, it sounds almost markety and salesy just saying it. But the truth is that this type of work, it facilitates transformation in the person, you know, because you're going to have to become somebody different in order to affect change on the planet. Anyway, so Richard, I'd love to ask you, where do you see the future of business going? I mean, in my lifetime, in and of itself, I've seen the business go from brick and mortar, like, and transfer a lot of businesses going on online. But where do you see really the future of business going?
The future of business. That's a small question. Well, I think the businesses, I think whatever business you're in, I think that what's going to be a big part of it is your ability to stay in a relationship with your audience and the people that you're working with. And so Amanda and I just co-hosted a servant leadership summit. And I would say that, like, on most of the speakers, like, the key to the servant leadership was, you're here to serve. And a big key of how you serve is you have to be in connection with your team and with your customers. And so I don't know that the future business, in some ways, I think, like, business is regressing. I feel like in the last 50 years, we kind of got away from depersonalization. But if you think of, like, 300 years ago, you kind of knew the person you bought your vegetables from, and you knew, like, the cobbler, and they put love and care into it. And if they didn't, you didn't have other options, quite frankly, probably because you were in a small town. But in a lot of ways, I think we got away from the humanity of business. So in some ways, if anything, maybe business is regressing. How we care, how we're in community, how we create online portals, I think that's changing. And I also think that through the internet, one of my personal beliefs is that we're here to do work with our soul group, and so it used to be like, if your, like, soulmate wasn't born in, like, the town that you lived in, or, like, one over, you were kind of screwed, because, like, you weren't going to find them, right? But and in a lot of ways, like, I think that's why consciousness is accelerating, because, like, if you have a larger soul group that you're part of. And so what I think of business, I actually think of business as an activator for raising the level of consciousness. And so you're going to start to get connected with a wider group of people, and you're going to be able to find people you're meant to work with, not necessarily and serve, clear karma, all that kind of stuff. But in the past, that was harder because it was more localized. And so, like, even this team we have with Astrology Hub, we found these people that are in these different cities, and they're kind of coming around, and now we have this virtual team that runs this business from around we did a launch last week, and my programmer, I don't know if this was a good situation, but, like, one of them was, like, in Bhutan and, like, dialing in from Internet Cafe to solve a problem, and the other one was in Romania. And and my other one was in 3 weeks ago was in Atlanta, and there was an outage there. And so it was just, this virtual team, but those people are, like, our soul family. So that maybe the future of business is the future of, like, rather than businesses, but it's like almost like soul pods coming together to do what they're here to do. And to, we all come here for a reason. So it's less about business changing and more like, we're able to connect with the people who we're meant to work with. I don't know. I don't think that was too ethereal, but I actually truly believe what I just said there. So
nice. I love it. Yeah. Amanda, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that we're in a period of time where light workers, I think of us as light workers. We're hearing the call. There's, like, something deep inside of us that's like, I got to do something. Like, there's something that's mine to do, as Rich was saying before. And yeah, I mean, we find each other. We find each other online. We find each other, in the communities that we go to. I've said many times, I don't even go to my Facebook feed anymore. I just go right into the groups that I'm a part of, that I've opted into, because that's where my people are. That's where my family is. So that's where I want to check in. Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's going to be a bigger gap between businesses that don't have that human element. But then I think that the ones that do have the human element, I mean, I personally feel that it's a competitive advantage. It's both nourishing for the soul of the person, of the creator of the business. It's nourishing for the soul of the receiver, and it's nourishing for the soul of the business. So I know that Astrology Hub has a soul, and that soul has a purpose. And so when I get to be the steward of the soul of Astrology Hub, and in that bring that soul expression into all the work that we do, that to me is just like best case scenario. It makes work so much fun. For all of you astrology people out there, my Venus is in Capricorn. My Venus is in Capricorn, and my Mars is in Leo, but my Saturn is in anyway, blah, blah, blah. Mercury, Capricorn. What I'm trying to say is, for me, like bringing love into work, and it's in the 12th house, bringing love into the work and incorporating the spirituality is like the holy grail. I mean, this is what I know.
Hey,
what?
Amanda, would you share? Because we were in your parents' home in California, 2 weeks ago, and we had kind of a vision meeting. Yeah. Could you tell them like how we came up with some of the values for Astrology Hub and how we came together as a team to kind of create that? Because I don't know if you'd be willing to share a little bit of that, because I think it's interesting.
Well, again, like for me, the bringing the spirit into the work is part of the whole point of what we're doing. So we started the day with meditation and we always start our meetings with meditation and really just tuning into like, what are we actually doing here? What's the intention? Why are we here? And then letting that infuse the way that we deal with tasks and, responsibilities, but it's always coming from that place of spirit. We got together and we tuned into the Soul of Astrology Hub, the soul of our community, all the people that follow Astrology Hub. I don't even want to say follow, like the people that are in our family at Astrology Hub, and then our team. And we really connected in with what it is that wants to come through us as a team. And from that place, we created our value system, our whole value structure, which really awesomely maps to the 7 inner planets. So we have different values that map to the planets themselves. And again, this is all such a soul expression of Astrology Hub. And like, if you would have told me 7 years ago that I would be sitting on a Facebook Live talking about the soul of a company called Astrology Hub, I would have thought you were crazy. I did not talk like this my whole life. This is not the orientation I've had, but it's through experiencing these things. Like literally, I'm in relationship with Astrology Hub, and I know it has a soul, just like I'm in relationship with my children. And I know they have a soul and a purpose and expression. And my job is to like help that come forth and hold space for that. It's the same. So what I would love to say to anyone out there who's considering creating an online business, creating an online brand, bringing their work online, is it is truly a vehicle for that level of expression. And when you approach it that way, you will have more success. When you think of it as like, I don't know, I think like Ryan was saying, some of us having this block with the word marketing. I've totally redefined marketing for myself. It is called communication, period. Like you communicate what you are about. You communicate what you have to offer, and you just put it out there. You broadcast it, you resonate it. It has a resonance. It goes out. And then those who are feeling the pull or feeling attracted to that will come. It's real simple. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. And no manipulation or sleaziness. It's just like, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I have to offer. Do you like this? Do you want it? It can be really simple. So is that Rich? Does that give you the answer? Is that the story you wanted me to tell?
Yeah, no, it's great. And it's just, it happens so organically through a series of things, but it was just interesting because we ended up with 7 values that mapped, and then it was clear that it was just this magical thing emerged that we couldn't have planned to create. This business has a kind of structure, and then also finding the right roles for people and clarifying that. And it's been, it's definitely an evolving thing it's continuing to grow.
Yeah, and to be announced soon. You'll see our little values with the planets that they map to on the website soon. So.
Yeah, I don't know of another company that has a value, a vision statement, and then values that are mapped to planets. That's kind of cool, so.
Love it.
The amazing thing, there's a real energetic to that.
Oh, yeah.
And when we talk about a connection with the cosmos, I mean, that connection is really real, And so, Amanda, I'll never forget when you told me that information is a form of light. And what do we always say? Like, we're in the information age, And so there's actually this idea that information is the new currency. Every single one of us has access to we have access to infrastructure that used to be reserved for kind of people with money or people in certain positions. But with our computer and the internet, like we have access to all these things, and it kind of levels the playing field. And really what we have now is information, which is a form of light, you know? And so to me, there's this amazing connection between when we share our truth and we share our light and we share our information, even in the online space, even though there's not a technical human connection, we form that connection and we actually get closer to natural laws. And I'll give an example is in the online world, it's almost essential that you kind of lead with service, right? You get out there and you share your content, you share your gifts, sort of without expectation. And then you start this cycle of giving in order to receive. And so we put our light out there, we put our information out there, we connect with real souls out there, and that's the first step. And then we open the door to receive. And so there's this cool cycle that happens with online business where it's like a win-win. And I just think it's so cool that when you said that, and then I thought, wow, we're in the information age. I mean, in a lot of ways, the internet is kind of like a manifestation of natural laws, even though, you know, we're looking at a computer screen. But actually, we've had a lot of discussions about this recently, Amanda, about the balance between life, the balance between technology and then truly connecting with nature, you know, and I mean, even in Astrology Hub, it's important to us to have a true connection with like nature, and cosmos being a part of that nature and the secular nature of that. And so I was wondering if you could speak to that.
Yeah. Well, it's one of our core company values is to align with the cycles of nature and nature. Yes, of course, including the cosmos. It's so funny, you guys. It was like embarrassingly recent that I made the connection between nature and like the planets. It was like, I've always thought of nature as the earth and trees and flowers and things, but like, oh yeah, wait, why wouldn't nature also be the sun and the stars and the moon and the planets? Okay, yeah. So that's embarrassing to admit, but it's true. And so, yes, aligning with nature to me is key in the evolution of humanity. Well, because we used to be a lot more connected, and we're doing an experiment right now where we're seeing the results of our disconnection. We're seeing that being disconnected from both nature, like around us, our environment, and also our true nature, like our nature as very much translated by astrology, you know, the language of astrology. The language of astrology gives us so many insights into our own true nature so that we can live in alignment with that. And in doing so, we also have to align with the cosmos. So yeah, it is a core company value, and it can be a challenge when running a virtual company that's based on technology. And so for myself, I have made it a number one priority to every single day get outside. And so I basically have white space on my calendar until 10 a.m. so that I can go down to the beach and walk, or I can be out in nature and just breathing the air and being a part of the environment, because I do, by virtue of the work we do, end up spending a lot of time in front of the computer. So it's definitely a balance. And then we've also realized as a company that it's really important that we have our online component, but then we meet offline. So that meeting in California was our first like in-person company meeting. I'm meeting Donna Woodwell for the first time in person. It's like, whoa, I've been working with this woman for 2 years. She's like integral in my life. But then we're also going to be at UAC in May, which will be an opportunity for us to meet a lot of you in person, you know, as well as be together as a team. So I think any online programs, it's really important that we're thinking of ways that we can meet our soul families online, but then we have these opportunities to take those relationships offline and connect as human beings, because there's really no substitute for that.
Nice. Yeah. And so for those of you out there who you've thought about having an online business, but the technology part kind of scares you, there is such thing as a balance, and we do have to work for it. There's no doubt about it. But you know, we work with a lot of people too who, like Amanda just said, connect with people online, but then even bring those connections offline in the form of programs or workshops or retreats and stuff. And that actually, you know, that increases the the value of the experience and the transformative effect. And so you're not restricted like to completely online. Well, that's incredible, Amanda. Thanks. And I was just wondering, I'd like to connect with the audience out there. If you guys have any particular questions you'd like to ask, or you want to participate with a comment, I'm going to get in there right now and check it out. Linda actually says she has a YouTube channel, and her problem is trying to reach the people trapped in their houses who are the ones who will actually use her. Oh, okay, so I skipped some there. Sorry about that. All I've been able to do is connect with professionals or organizations, not all of whom are open to any new, let alone fun ideas. My problem is trying to reach the people trapped in their houses who are the ones who will actually use it. Any ideas you could share?
Is she an astrologer or?
Okay, here we go. Sorry, my internet technology. Here we go. I've had a YouTube channel up for a couple of years, which has music, photo, videos designed to help caregivers and their people with dementia or brain problems. It's just basically me, and I'm doing this brand new thing. It also works as an alternative for TV for these folks, online, Twitter, etc. But all I've been able to do is connect with professionals or organizations, not all of whom are open to the new idea, let alone fun ideas. My problem is trying to reach people trapped in their houses who are the ones who will actually use it. Any ideas you could share?
Mm-hmm. I mean, definitely a Facebook group you'd have to be careful, free workshop for dementia sufferers, or, like you could definitely do some things.
What about their caregivers though? Their caregivers might be the ones that she could reach out to create a group. Yeah. Go ahead, Rich. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh, no, that's okay. No, I mean, so this is kind of the thing when you can have a creative idea and you have to kind of get together with some people and think, okay, what options are on the table? Because the truth is that there's a lot of segmentation in the market, and the millennials are using different platforms than the people who are like I'm mid-40s. And that's different from somebody who has dementia that might be 70 plus, so we don't have all the answers, but the 70 plus market for internet users is a little tougher of a market because they're less tech savvy. I would actually think that trying to find out ways actually to use the TV or even like audio programs that could be distributed, or there's other ways. My dad is just 70 now, and he wouldn't be on Facebook or YouTube. That wouldn't be like his generation. So he would be more like watching TV.
Although my dad's like 73 and he's on Facebook and YouTube.
Right. So there you go.
He's pretty with it.
I will say too that so like my uncle was the caregiver for my grandma for a long time when she started losing some of her mental capacity, and he was challenged with that because he didn't know how to communicate with her or how to take care of her in that sense. And so I think like marketing to the caregivers or and communicating with those people who are taking care of the people with dementia. And if you could speak directly to them and give them a tool to use, because it sounds like you have ideas for getting this alternative to TV in front of the people with dementia. You could offer that to the caregivers as a tool to help them take care of.
There's probably entire nursing groups and caregiver groups. There's empath groups, so it can be people who know people. There's a couple empath groups. I know that's not quite nurse caregivers, but I know of a couple that are over 500,000 people on Facebook. This is an idea. But it's not a small market. There's a huge market there.
That's a big market. And Linda says that's exactly what it is. And I'll say that, sons and daughters who now they have the responsibility of taking care of their parents. Like that's a nice problem to solve, meaning you could help a lot of them to take care of the parents, So So hopefully that's helpful.
Really targeted messaging. I mean, even if you did leverage Facebook to put some really targeted posts out there to caregivers, I mean, you could really speak directly to them.
Well, you could do so on a lot of posts that what we do for any client, we'll like, okay, what's the primary pain point? And so like, my mom went through cancer and passed, but if there was something that I could have downloaded at that time that was like how to care for your parents if they get cancer, I would have downloaded that darn thing pretty darn fast. So, for dementia, it's got to be really painful to watch somebody go through that. And then if it's somebody you love, the guide for caring for parents with dementia, I mean, like that's just one idea, but you could see how like if you started to, if you're doing YouTube videos, you can cross post those onto Facebook as videos or do Facebook Lives. And then you just have that link right under there. And then you get those people on the list, and you could have a larger program, or you could do virtual talks for groups of caregivers. There's caregiver and nursing associations. And so you can just start to see how it just, from like one idea, it just starts to spider out. But the opt-in gift's a really good idea to get people on your list. And then once you get them on your list, then.
And Linda, if you don't know what an opt-in gift is, it's basically like a free gift that you give to people, and they have to put their name and their email address in order to get the gift. But that will help you grow your community, and you'll know the people who downloaded that gift, they're the exact people that you want to be talking to. So then you'll be able to stay in touch with them, and that's your way that you build your tribe.
Yeah, that's your tribe, that's your community. And I don't know the specifics of your situation, Linda, but I love the idea of communicating directly on the front end to the caregivers, the sons and daughters, the nurses, the people who are challenged with this every day, and then selling something that they could use with the people with dementia. Because it sounds like you're making videos for the people with dementia, but that's what you could sell to the caregivers who would then get it in front of.
And we have this problem. That's not a problem. It's just we have this situation. So we launched this Tuesday within Conscious Marcher. The program was called Working with Men. And so when we offer that program out, we're actually marketing it to therapists who are working with men. And so it's like a two-step thing. And then we're actually in the middle of a launch with Diane Puheller, who's an attachment person, and Kim John Payne, who's actually the leading expert on how digital devices are shredding the minds of like children. Ooh. But it was challenging. It was a little bit of a challenging launch. Well, I mean, we're still in it, but we had a webinar on Wednesday that had 3,000 people. And when people went into the webinar to sign up, as soon as they signed up, we asked them, what best describes you? I'm a parent, I'm a therapist, or I'm an educator, and they had to choose one. And 43% of the people that signed up were parents. And so like the program for therapists to teach them how to work with parents who are coming in with their kids is different than a program for parents. And so like this is a tricky launch actually, because there's multiple what we call avatars or customers, but we segmented it into the launch so that we know how to adjust our messaging. Because the truth is the course is the same, whether it's a parent or an educator or a therapist. It's just the messaging is a little bit different. So maybe that was too complicated. I'm sorry if I got too complicated.
Well, no, but I think the point there is that it's really important to know your avatar. Like the customer that you're really trying to reach, you need to know who that is so that you can speak to them directly. I think it was Zig Ziglar who said like, you could be a wandering generalist or a meaningful specific. And I think that actually pertains to this, because if you just kind of say, hey, this is what it is, it's kind of like good for anybody, you're not actually going to speak to anyone, and they're not going to resonate with it, and they're probably not going to want to buy it. But if you define an avatar in a very specific way and then be able to speak to them with your messaging, all of a sudden you've got my attention. And now it's like, I want what you have. So now's a good time. Richard and I are launching a program called Live the Soul Academy, and it's how to build your online business, grow your online business. It's a 7-week training program. And in the first module, we get into defining your avatar, because that's how important that is. So in the first module, we talk about the online digital blueprint, defining your avatar. And then we move on from there to how to build your audience, how to really build your email list and connect with people through powerful communication and copywriting. We get into the different types of launches. There's actually specific ways to launch programs and services that creates anticipation and creates excitement and creates desire in your community, creates incentive. And there's templates for how to do that, all like with webinars or video or email. And we're going to go into all that, referral and retention strategies. I'm just going to put the link here in the chat. For those of you who are thinking about creating an online business, or you're out there actively and you've already started an online business, but you'd like to grow it, maybe you're not gaining the traction that you'd like, this would be perfect for you. So
can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
So I just have to say to anybody out there considering working with Richard and Ryan, Astrology Hub would not be what it is today, like not even remotely what it is today, without these two men. They're amazing. They are so knowledgeable, so brilliant to work with, so soul-centered, and really coming from a really beautiful service-oriented place with this program. So I cannot recommend them enough. They're like my right hand and my left hand for Astrology Hub. There's no way that we would be having the success we have. And I have an experience in starting an online business and not having what Richard and Ryan brought to the table, or what they bring to the table for Astrology Hub. In this first business that I started online, I didn't have that. And eventually, even though I had great ideas and I had great content, it died. I had to bury that creation because it didn't have the necessary structure and marketing know-how and offer creation and all these things that Richard and Ryan are so brilliant at. So, I feel it's essential for us at this point in time, if you consider yourself a light worker, to arm yourself with the light tools of effective communication and spreading the information and really going out there and being able to reach the people that you're trying to reach. So that's just my complete and total and utter stamp of approval of these two individuals, both as human beings and as business partners.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That means so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much.
From the bottom of my heart.
Well, it's one of the big errors that we make sometimes when we go online. We try to do it all ourselves. And I am massively guilty at this. And you get into areas that aren't your expertise, and then you try to figure them out, or even worse, you try to buy a program, or you try to hire somebody, and if you don't know enough knowledge, you don't even know who to hire. It's like this weird thing. As I mentioned before, I'm at this digital marketing conference, and Ryan Levesque spoke on stage, and he wrote a book called Ask, and it's about how to survey your customers as they come in. And he was on stage with Brian Kurtz, who is like the leading direct mail person in the world. He's sent like 2 billion pieces of mail, something crazy like that. And then Jeff Walker, and Jeff asked him he asked Ryan, what's the one mistake that you wish if you could go back you'd change? And Ryan Levesque, this is one of the top guys in the world in this space. And these are all three of them actually. And he goes, look, going back, I made 2 mistakes. One was I didn't hire my team fast enough. He's like, I was licking envelopes in my on my thing with my wife, and then we tried to do our own accounting books. Oh. And he's like the story I was telling myself in my mind was I couldn't afford it. And what he realized was he had to just take some of the money that he was making and invest it, because that would allow him to free up time to do what he was good at and make more money. And so he was like, I got to hire him. And then he said the second mistake was he didn't find a mentor fast enough. But then once he realized that that was the key, he said his main philosophy now is to have the highest level mentor he can find in any given area, and to be that mentor's number one student. And I thought that was really, yeah, it was such a powerful idea. So that kind of hit home for me because I have a mentor as well. I wouldn't be in alignment if I was telling you to have a mentor and I didn't have a mentor. And I have a mentor and I'm like, shit, I'm probably not his number one student now. No, I was like, if I was his number one student, I would do everything he told me to, and I would like really listen to him more, and it made me think like, shit, I have to work harder at like being a good student to like.
That's so funny, Rich. So my mentor right now, I would call Amy Porterfield my mentor right now, and I do have a goal that at some point she's going to interview me on her podcast because I'm going to be one of her star students who has implemented the things that she recommends. So, yeah.
Amy's awesome. She's a great mentor to have. So it's a virtual mentor that you haven't even met yet.
Totally. Awesome. No, but I know I'm going to meet her and we're going to love each other.
Yeah. I've had that thought before where I want to strive to be a case study. A case study is when they showcase you because you've been successful in what, in your business. So like if you can strive to be a case study, then
well, there's this beautiful.
Maybe one of you will be Ryan and Richard's case study.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, there's a beautiful thing that as you rise, you start to develop your own unique special gifts. And then the mentor relationship changes more toward one really of the term mastermind is thrown out a lot now. Like, hey, join my mastermind. A true mastermind actually is a group of equals sitting around the table, helping each other in the area of expertise. Most masterminds actually aren't that. Most masterminds are one person who has all the knowledge and then a bunch of students. But a true mastermind is actually a round table or whatever, an oval table or square, whatever shape you want, of people who are equals that are helping each other out. And so like what I saw on stage today, as a matter of fact, was, Ryan's using Jeff's launch method on the back of his, and Jeff's using Ryan's method, and Brian's using, it's actually a true mastermind where they're coming together to help each other out, make money, transform consciousness, all of it,
Love it.
Drink wine,
Hey, is it Friday at like 9 for you?
It's Friday at 9. Like I literally left a vegetarian dinner and I was like, I'm so excited to get on this Facebook live with,
hopefully it was worth
Brian and Amanda and everybody on here. No, I'm truly, it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And, there's so much love for this community. Lori, Dominique, you're talking about how Astrology Hub is the tribe that, that you connect with. And I just want you to know that we really appreciate you. We're working every day to build this community, and it's just so cool to have that true connection. So thank you for being here today. And Martina, I just want to thank you for posting the charity water link. That was so cool. So now everyone has access to that. Martina signed up for Live the Soul. She's saying right here, she's really grateful. And astrologically speaking, the Monday start date, which is next Monday on the 30th, is perfect for her. I'd love to know why, like what's an alignment for you on Monday that makes it a special day to start Live the Soul.
Martina, that's so awesome. You guys, it's going to be so amazing for me to hear about all of you and the success that you're having within your business. Because just like Richard said in the beginning, when we started Astrology Hub, one of our goals was to empower the astrologers to create healthy, sustainable businesses so they could get their wisdom out to more people. So I know that there's so many of you in the community who also are in that category of having so much wisdom, having so much to share. And so now, just the idea that you will be working with Richard and Ryan, it makes me really happy. And I can't wait to hear your stories about the successes that are going to come your way. It's going to be an amazing group.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to see some amazing transformations. We always do with groups like this. And Martina says the Jupiter and Saturn return, etc. And that's cool because we're all experiencing that. I don't think it's a mistake that we're starting on Monday, actually. Jupiter goes into Scorpio. What's up?
These guys are tuned in.
Exactly. Dominique says she'd love to do the program, but not in a position financially to do it. I think that's the case with a lot of people, Dominique, and I just invite you to consider that this is really an asset and an investment Now, I mean, this program's not for everyone, and it may not be the exact right time for you. But at the same time, it's these types of investments that's going to help you to make more money in the future. And we see that every single day. Really, we want the people that come in to live the soul to 3 times their business, 5 times their business, even 10 times their business. And sometimes it's like a matter of 5 clients can pay for a program. And then beyond that, you have the knowledge and you're able to, everything else is a bonus in the future, with what you learn. So I just invite you to think about that. And if there's any other questions too, now's the time to put them in. We're going to wrap up here in just a few minutes, but
you guys have they can pay 3 payments, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
So there is a 1 payment option, but there's also a 3 payment option of $343, 3 payments. So if that's easier for you, if you go to the link that I posted in the chat, you'll have both those options.
And Ryan, can people try it? And if they find that if it's not working for them,
we have a 30-day guarantee. So come on in, try it out. If it's not for you, you could definitely let us know. No questions asked, no hard feelings or anything. We'll give you your money back. We really are inviting people in who are serious about growing their online business. So if it's not really something you want to do, but you're doing it because there's a guarantee, like it's probably not for you. But if you're serious about growing your business, you always have that. You always have that guarantee. So it is a risk-free offer. We want to make sure you get the value. So thanks for bringing that up. Richard, do you want to add anything?
Not. Like I remember when I first bought my first $1,000 program, it scared the hell out of me. I did it anyway, and it was just the start of this big adventure that I'm on. And now we've started Astrology Hub. We launched Eckhart Tolle earlier this year. We just did the Servant Leadership Summit with 40 people, and so like it's enabled us to really kind of, that was many years ago, rise kind of to be some of the best in the world. And it's a unique opportunity, but like if it's right for you, great. Like we're going to do everything we can to serve you. And if it's not the right time, that's totally cool too. So we just love having you part of the Astrology Hub community. We really appreciate you, being in our community and caring about astrology, caring about the world, doing your soul work. And so like, whatever you decide is totally okay with us. So yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it's so true. I'm just really excited for the first class and meeting everyone in that Live the Soul community. So, well, Amanda Pua Walsh, thank you so much for joining us and actually having us on the Astrology Hub page. Richard, thank you so much for joining us from LaunchCon.
LaunchCon.
And isn't that what it's called?
In Dallas, Texas. It's so
Dallas,
strange.
Texas.
We had vegetarian food tonight right before this at like this Indian restaurant. It was awesome.
Nice.
So yeah,
That
just
sounds
having
really
fun
good.
down here.
Okay, well, everyone enjoy your Friday evening and your weekend, and thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks, Ryan, for everything, for managing this too. Thank you, Amanda, for showing up so fully in the world. We love you.
Love you too. And love all you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Venus Day.
Love you guys.